Hey guys, if you want to learn how to reconnect with your mate, you want to make sure that you hit that subscribe button and you want to stay tuned because we're about to kick off part 1 of our Reconnect series. We'll be right back with Lunch Talk with the Carters. All right guys, we are back with Lunch Talk with the Carters. I am your girl Starr Carter.
And I am your boy Michael Carter.
And we are about to kick off our Reconnect series. We out here in this beautiful garden in our downtown home of Greenwood, and we just wanted to just change up the scenery a little bit because what we're trying to do now with Lunch Talk with the Carters, we are trying to bring our relationships and our families together. And this new season, we are in the spring, so we out here enjoying some of this sunshine and a little bit of flowers as well as the bugs. What you think? And pollen.
A lot of bugs and pollen.
And pollen. I'm doubled up on Claritin. Did you take your Flonase?
No, not yet, but I will after I leave.
All right, so he get to sneezing. Y'all know why, because he didn't take his Flonase. So anyway, so we were just playing around. But like we said, we're trying to reconnect our families and everything. This is a new season. It's spring here. So we're going to kick it off first just talking about, in order to reconnect, how do you disconnect? So Michael, you want to tell them some ways that you can disconnect?
Well, first of all, you can disconnect in your relationship. I would say taking each other for granted. That's one of the ways you can disconnect.
Yeah.
Okay. You get comfortable with your mate and you don't compliment them, or you don't do the little things you did and actually to get that mate. You know, in order to keep that mate, you have to do the same thing. So that's one of my number ones right there. Okay. People get comfortable and people start taking each other for granted.
Oh yeah, I really do agree with that because, you know, in comfortable, you know, you tend to, like you said, take people for granted. You don't say I love you, or you don't thank them anymore. You automatically assume that if they buy you lunch, or if they cook dinner, or if
that's something they're
supposed to do.
Yeah,
and that's they don't supposed to do that. I mean, that's something that they do, these special things for you. That's something that you should at least thank them for, because they don't have to do that. I think another way that people wind up disconnecting is bringing in outsiders into their relationships. You know, you bring other people's problems home into your own relationship that you may not even have those issues. But then if you listening to your girlfriend or whatever, you know,
mistake number one.
If you listening to your girlfriend or whatever, you know, talk about how their glare on his face. Let's fix that. Yeah, that's a lot better. All right, so you know, let's scoot over just a little bit. Okay, you know, we on the live now. We on the live. But and this here we got the bugs. But you know, some negativity projects. So if you hanging with your girls, and all of a sudden, you know, they complaining about they dude and what they do doing and all of a sudden you might start looking at your dude sideways and start projecting that negative energy into your relationship too. So that's another way that you can disconnect. What you think?
I think that's an excellent second disconnection, because 9 times out of 10, if it is an issue in your girlfriend's relationship, for some reason in your mind, you start having thoughts about your own mate. Mm-hmm. Even though you can have no problems whatsoever. Yep. You know, if your friend, guy or female, puts this thought in your mind, that negative vibe will flow into your relationship. Because like you said, a valid point, you're going to start looking at your mate, male or female, sideways, because you're going to be like, okay, this happening to Shakima or whatever her name is, okay, now, okay.
Shakima, I like that.
Yeah, and then you're going to come to your home and, you know, you're going to start causing issues where there probably aren't any issues.
Exactly. I mean, and I see it happen. Because I was like, girl, my man, you got to check his DM and all this stuff, because if you got that going on, you will automatically assume. So that's a no-no.
Every time.
That's a no-no.
That's
a no-no. You got another one that can cause a disconnect?
Well, yeah, disconnection and another thing is miscommunication. Okay, assumption.
Number one for me.
Assumption, because you know, if you having an issue, okay, one person may perceive it one way and another person may perceive it another way. And if you don't actually communicate with your mate to try to get a valid point, you know, to bag your actions or to bag whatever happened, you know, you giving them the option to assume. Yeah. And once you assume something,
well, you know what that leads to.
That may not be the actual case.
Exactly.
But if you're not explaining to yourself your actions to your mate, okay, you're giving them that option. But if you take the time out to think that your mate is that important, that, okay, I'm doing something out of the norm, or I'm doing something that's not actual part of myself, you know, I'm going to explain what's going on or what's happening or why I'm doing this or acting this way.
You're right.
That'll take away her or him assuming something.
Assuming things. An example of that, like say for instance, guys, like say if you get off work, every day you got the same routine. You get off work, you maybe go by whoever to pick up the kids from the babysitter or whatever you do, whatever your normal routine is. And one day after work or whatever, and maybe your girl said, hey, let's just stop by the bar. Today was a rough day. Let's just get one beer or one margarita or whatever, and then we go home. And that might not be no more than about a 30 or 45-minute ordeal, right?
Oh, but that could be a big issue.
But that could be a big issue because you may have already called the babysitter or whatever and said, okay, I'm going to be 30, 45 minutes late. I'm just going to stop here for a little while, and I'll be right on to get the kids or whatever. But did you think about to tell your mate that? Did you text your mate? You know, you can't confirm anything with your girlfriend to me without confirming it with your mate, you know, because, and I know some of y'all ladies are like, well, I don't have to tell him everywhere I go. No, you don't. But if say if he got off work early or he wanted to surprise you and you're not there, and then that could turn into something, you know.
I agree 100%.
It could turn into something.
100%.
And that's just the little things that could cause a disconnect, because then that might put doubt into him and be like, well, that was odd. I mean, you never been going out, you know, with Susie Mae after work and getting drinks or whatever. That's not like you know. Especially if you don't tell them. If you, it's a way to say anything, even if you think that they're not approachable. You could be like, well, babe, you know, we had a rough day at the office today, and we just need just a drink. Just one drink, you know, no DUI, nothing like that. Just one little drink, you know, just with my girl after work, and then I'll get the kids, or if you could get the kids, whatever, you know, make that a plan and let him know or let her know or whatever the case may be, and just let them know. That's, like you said, miscommunication is a lot of times that people get disconnected. A lot of times.
That's a very important one, communication, yeah.
And I got one more that I think is a big one. If you are in a relationship, especially in a marriage, if you are in a relationship, especially in a marriage, it is so important that you limit the time that you have with your single friends.
Okay, I can get with that. I can get with that.
Because and the reason why I say that, babe, the reason why I say that is because your single friends remember when you were single. 9 times out of 10, there's some friends that you had for a while.
Yes.
Especially you guys. You know how y'all single guys is, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So the single guys, and then, you know, but
they got a way of doing things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So your single guy friends or girlfriends, when you go out with them, they think you can stay out all night like they can, because they don't have anybody to answer to, and that's their thing. You know, they don't have anybody to get mad at them if they creep in after 12 o'clock at midnight after going out.
True.
You know, it's one thing for your mate to be okay for you to go out, but it's another thing if they do not like the time that you come in, because you done came in 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning with, oh, it just ran over, and girlfriend, you know, they were just like, girl, you don't never come out with us. You got to come out with us. You got to hang, and all this and that and the other. Hold on, we got to change this direction. The sun is not doing right for us. Come on, let's come in. Okay, now we better, y'all. I'm sorry. But anyway, but like, you know, you can't let your single friends do that to your relationship, because that's going to cause a rift in your relationship, especially when you come home at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. You got children, and your husband or your wife is sitting up waiting on you. They scared. They don't know if something done happened or whatever. That's like not cool.
I mean, that's an uneasy feeling. That's a very uneasy feeling.
So in order for there to be a reconnect, there has to be a disconnect. So in our series over the next few weeks, because this is our anniversary month, so
yes, it is.
I feel like an anniversary gift to you all is to make sure that we keep our families together and our marriages and our relationships together in 2018. So my tip to you all is to think about just those little things that you may have not even noticed. You know, some things go unnoticed. You know, we fly by, you know, autopilot a lot. And so you might not think that that was a big deal. But it could be a big deal.
It could be a big deal. It could be a major
big
deal. Because remember, presumption is everything.
Exactly.
Presumption, how another person perceives your actions.
Yes.
That's the big issue.
You might not have thought, going after work for one drink was a big deal, but he might be at the house slamming pots and carrying on because he didn't know.
Yeah, or it's just something out of the norm.
Or just something out of the norm.
If your female is doing something out of the norm, or your male is doing something out of the norm, it's going to trigger some thoughts.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just human nature.
It's just nature.
Yeah.
Because, we are creatures of habit.
Exactly. Perfect example. Habit.
We are
when that
creatures
habit
of
is
habit.
broken, your mind tends to wonder. Your mind tends to wonder.
Exactly. And it could be something, easy. We like you said, that communication, I tell you, that's my number one. That's why I keep going back to that. And communication is a problem in your relationship. You really, really got to fix that. You got to fix it. I know sometimes that us ladies, we overtalk our men and won't let them get a word in edgewise. I know I talk too much. I know my problem. I know my flaws. I'm one of the people that can admit my flaws. I know what I do wrong. But one thing about it, when you know it, you bring it to the forefront and you're conscious of it. And then that way you can work on it. But one thing we have to do is take responsibility for us. And if we can take responsibility for us, each individual, and stop always pointing the finger at each other, instead of sometimes just point the finger at yourself and see what you can do to bring the connection back. Because sometimes it might be the little things that we don't think about. So this week, guys, I want you to really, really think about what are some of the things that might be causing a rift in your relationship this week. Today's Monday, so you got time to think about it before we come back on Friday with our next Reconnect Series tip. So this tip right here is to think about it. Think about what it is. It could be any little thing, but if that any little thing gets on your mate's nerves, that could be a big thing.
Yeah, it could be a big issue.
It could be real little. It could be anything as far as like they get tired of you leaving your clothes on the floor. It could be anything. I'm telling you, just think about just the little things, male and female. Just think about it. We leave, us women, we could be hard and leave just little bitty clues. But sometimes men, and sometimes, we just take it for granted. Like my husband said, we take it for granted that she's going to pick the clothes up out the floor. You know what I'm saying? Or we take it for granted that he's going to take the trash out.
That's excellent point. Excellent point. Yeah.
So just think about those little things over the week, and we will be back Friday with another episode of Lunch Talk with the Carters. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and that like button, hit the little bell notification, and also please leave a comment if you know anything on this channel that you can think about that can also be another disconnect. We want to hear from you all, and don't forget, this is a podcast, so you can subscribe to us on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Google Play. We'll love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Peace.
All right, peace.